रब ने जब दिल दिए दिल के Am I live? Yeah. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Fantasy Premier League with FPL Wizard. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you're in the best of health, and I hope you had a great game week 34, which was a double game week, guys. By the way, if my stream notification gave you a bit of a heart attack, thinking that it is or you're that it's the deadline and you kind of missed the deadlines, it's not true. Actually, during the deadline, when it is deadline time, I have to go for a scan on my ankle. I hurt my ankle really badly while playing football, guys, so I mean, even wizards sometimes need MRI scans, so I have to go for an MRI scan. I still haven't fixed my appointment, so if I can make it to the deadline stream, I'll do another stream. If not, then I just wanted to be out here, talk to you guys before I left. So this is all there is to it. So before I get started, guys, I just like to show you my score from last week. So I took a hit, guys, last week. As you know, I made 4 transfers. To be honest with you, the transfers I made, I mean, the players I transferred out, they scored really good points, and it was insane to watch. Like, Odegaard scored 2 goals, Harry Kane scored a goal, Nathan Ake out of nowhere, like out of the blue, appear and kind of score goddamn 15 points. He outscored Trent Alexander-Arnold by 4 points, and I took a -4 hit, even a -8 hit, specifically to get in Trent Alexander-Arnold over Nathan Ake. So sometimes these things don't work out, but I'm pretty satisfied with my game week score, guys, so nothing to complain. Right at 100k right now. Hoping to kind of sprint until the end of the season, and not literally, guys, as you know, my ankle's hurting, but just want to sprint in FPL terms and get to the finish line on a high as possible, so that we can have a good summer off and be ready for next year's FPL as well. So, guys, with this out of the way, let's get to the real thing, which is the questions. So, hey Michael, hey Jackson. Jackson says health first, wish nothing serious. My doctor thinks it's a grade 3 ankle sprain, like a tear, and he thinks that it's a bone edema below something, or I don't know, but I just hope it's all fine. I just want to be able to get back to exercising as soon as possible, my friend. That's all I want. Hey FPL Jug, hey FPL Sam, hey Light Trace, I hope you're all doing well. Michael says I find I'm getting injured more playing soccer, but I'm 45. Michael, that's exactly what I said to Pedro in Twitter, on Twitter today. He was chatting with me, and that's exactly what I said. I think I lost my powers of Wolverine, which is like self-healing powers. As we move on in years, I feel that recovery takes a lot more time. I've been focusing much more on my, like relaxing exercises and warm-up exercises much more than I used to when I was younger. But this was an impact injury. Like, this guy just totally rolled over my ankle. He jumped on my ankle literally 2 feet. It was like a Mustafi tackle. There was nothing that could be done to save myself from that, and it just hurt a lot. And I hope it's actually just lets me get back to my workout, because it just feels so depressing sitting at home all the time, and resting. Anyways, guys, let's move on to more important things. Michael says Mings or Trippier, or Botman and Trippier. For this game week, I'd say Mings and Trippier, because I don't think Newcastle are going to keep a clean sheet against Arsenal, although I feel Newcastle going to do really well, because they're on a high, they're winning games, they're scoring goals. But even if they win the game against Arsenal, I don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet. So for this week, I'd say it has to be Mings and Trippier. Although last week, Trippier didn't score any points, and Mings actually and Botman actually got an assist. So, sometimes these things, you can never tell how they pan out. But we just have to play the averages, the probabilities. Hey Light Trace, I hope you're doing well. So guys, the questions are still not coming in, so I'm just going to tell you about my team and what I'm going to be doing this week. So we're expecting early Manchester City team news, guys, because it's the first first game of the, like, because we don't have an early kickoff technically speaking, so I'm not sure the Gandhi rule applies here, that you should never captain anyone in the early kickoff. I'm not sure if this applies to today's game as well, but we're hoping not. But if we get the early team news, so guys, I'm gonna tell you a very clear scenario about what I'm going to do in the case of all the news that I get, right? So first, we get the news that Haaland is starting. I'm rolling my transfer. I'm doing nothing at all. I'm going to be making 2 transfers ahead of next week, right? If we get the news that Haaland is not starting, right, then I'm going to move on Ollie Watkins for Alvarez, and that's all. That's all there is to it. And if I find the news that Haaland is not starting, I will get Alvarez and move my captaincy to Mo Salah. And if I get the news that Haaland is starting, I roll my transfer. These are the only 2 scenarios that I'm looking at currently. No other, I'd be happy if Haaland starts. I don't need to make a transfer for Alvarez. If Haaland is not starting, then Alvarez is going to be playing as a striker, so I'm going to bring in Alvarez and in place of Ollie Watkins, and maybe next week I'm gonna move out Alvarez for Isaac or Wilson. It gives me 1 more week of information whether to go for Isaac or Wilson, because it's a roll of a dice at the moment. You never know which one you want to go for, because Isaac and Wilson both are getting points, both are scoring good FPL points at this moment in time. So I'm gonna get 1 more week of information. There is exactly the reason why I don't want to bring in Wilson or Isaac this week to make a prior transfer. So either I'm gonna roll a transfer or I'm gonna bring in Alvarez. That is going to depend on the fact that we get early team news and whether Haaland is starting or not. If Haaland is not starting, I'm gonna captain Salah. And one more thing, guys, today we're gonna get early Manchester City team news. So set your teams before the news is out, because after the news comes out, if Haaland is not starting, the FPL servers might not give you a chance to do anything. Just remember this, guys. Yeah. So FPL says, I'm thinking Iverson over Rhea this game week just for the vibes. I was thinking that as well, to be honest with you, but Fulham away doesn't look like the easiest game. They've been scoring goals, like the way they played against Liverpool. It was really, really awesome, They could have easily drawn the game. They could have easily even, scored more goals than Liverpool. The amount of chances Fulham were creating was absolutely incredible, to be honest with you, watching that game. Carlos Vinicius was looking so good. And, he got amazing chances as well. Their team just looks amazing. Palinia in the middle, in the center of that midfield. So I don't think, Leicester are going to keep a clean sheet against Fulham. Pedro says, hey Wiz, what's the thinking behind Trippier instead of Shaw? No thinking, Pedro. Honestly, I've been flip-flopping all day long. I'm unable to decide which one to start, to be honest with you. So this is going to go to the end of the deadline, but the reason might be because the conflict of interest, because I've already got Fernandes, I've already got Rashford. Putting 3 players in might not feel as comfortable as kind of dividing the risk a little bit. And Trippier obviously is the highest scoring defender of the game right now. It's not Botman, obviously. Sorry. I was wondering what I just did. So yeah, you can see, it's the highest scoring defender of the game right now, 177 points. And, I just think the prospects of Trippier are good. You want players like Trippier in your team. That's the reason I've been flip-flopping all day long. So it's not gonna come as a surprise if at the end of the day I put in Shaw and bring out Trippier. The reason was mainly because I already have 2 United players in Fernandes and Rashford. What are the odds of Grealish starting, says FPL Jug. So let's let the fans answer this question. Let's go and at the rate of Emma Jump the Wave on Twitter, and let's see what the fans have to think about Manchester City's starting players. Right? Just a second here, guys. So this is Manchester City Leeds. And Akanji 100%, Haaland 100%. 100% of the fans seem to think that Haaland is going to start. Only 20% of the fans seem to think that Grealish is going to start. 20%, guys. Look at the odds. 20% of the fans seem to think Grealish is going to start. 60% of the fans seem to think Mahrez is going to start. 100% Haaland. 92% fans seem to think Foden is going to start. So if anybody's looking for a punt, this guy is, just coming on for like 10 minutes and scoring goals, giving assists, could be a good option. Gundogan 100%, Bernardo Silva 43%, Phillips 32%, Ake 48%, Rodri 48%. The fans are not sure about anybody. They're sure about Ederson starting though. So for anybody who suffered a traumatizing experience watching Ortega play and keep a clean sheet against West Ham United, it's going to be Ederson against Leeds. At least that's what the fans seem to think, because Ederson's got his rest. But Stones 43%, Ruben Diaz 79%, Laporte 80%. All the others, even look at Kevin De Bruyne, 83%. I think with the game against Real Madrid on the horizon, I think Pep is going to rotate a lot. So we have to watch out for the team news, guys. Right? Grealish is 20% according to the fans. The fans who watch Manchester City day in day out, they seem to think that Grealish is 20% nailed on to start. That's where the fans are at. Back. Right. So FPL some answer that. Michael says play Kepa or Steele. I would play Steele, to be honest with you. Although it's Bournemouth away, I'd still play Steele. I mean, Brighton looked really, really good. Really good against United. I mean, they absolutely hammered United in that second half. Although, I mean, it could have been a draw. Very well, it could have been a draw, right? But, Brighton played really well. I mean, it's not like they were playing against a small team. It was United and they actually hammered them. Pedro, answer that. Michael says, yeah. Achilles says, start Ederson or De Gea. I would start Ederson, my friend. The ceiling of Ederson is 6 points, but I think West Ham have more chance of scoring a goal at home to United as compared to Leeds against Manchester City. I would start Ederson. But to be honest with you, that's too much money invested into the keepers, my friend. De Gea and Ederson are too much money is invested in the keepers. I would personally just, if you have a transfer to spare in the coming weeks, I'd take out some money out of there and bring in Iverson for one of them. FPL Sam says, yeah, just taking the chances of any luck with Iverson. Yeah, my friend. The only reason I'm playing Rhea is for the saves, That's all I want from Rhea is save points, and that's it. I don't care whether Rhea keeps a clean sheet or not, which I don't think he's going to. But if he makes a lot of saves, I'm going to be happy with that. Imran says, hello, Viz. Afternoon, Imran. I hope you're doing well, my friend. First of all, guys, there's 19 of you watching right now, and I'm really thankful that you all, in spite of me having this early stream, you all still came. I was kind of wondering about how many people are going to actually come to the stream, but so a lot of thanks to all of you who actually made it here. Bipin says Maddison is worth keeping. Yeah, my friend. I mean, honestly speaking, Maddison, I think, yes, definitely worth keeping. When he plays Maddison, I think he delivers. This season he's been in and out of the team with injuries and, missed like 4, 5, 6 games with injuries. Still, he's like, 121. He's on 121 points, Maddison. And yes, he played the full game against Everton, did not score, but he could have scored. Honestly speaking, if I had Maddison, I would keep him in the team. If you want to take him out, I'd say somebody like Phil Foden could be a really good punt. Surfro says, hey Viz, got Cher, Trippier, White, John Stones. Who would you not start? Honestly, I'd bench one of the Newcastle defenders, my friend. I'd just maybe divide the risk a little bit. That's all that can be done. Or you can bench White if you feel like, if you're having a feeling that Newcastle is going to keep a clean sheet against Arsenal, which I don't think, I'm personally not getting the feeling of a clean sheet, although I feel that this is the game in which City could actually just nab the title from Arsenal, and Arsenal could maybe draw the game, could lose the game, because Newcastle, they're playing in so much confidence, they're scoring goals, they're like flamboyant with Isaac up front, and all these guys like Murphy, Joe Willock, they're chipping in, so it's could be a very difficult game for Arsenal. So if you're getting the feeling that Newcastle gonna beat Arsenal, then you can even double up on the Newcastle defense. With John Stones, I'll possibly take a chance. If he doesn't play, you automatically get one off the bench, because I don't think if John Stones doesn't start, I don't think he's going to come off the bench unless there's an injury. So I think Pep is going to want to save his best players for the Real Madrid game, and while just winning the game easily from Leeds. And so I personally think if you feel that Newcastle going to beat Arsenal, then bench White. If you feel you want to divide the risk a little bit, then bench Shearer. Out of the Newcastle defenders, obviously I prefer Trippier. Who to start, Trippier or Martial? This is a tough one. Martial. I mean, to be honest with you, Martial did absolutely next to nothing. I mean, he did have chances against Brighton, especially one really good chance. But other than that, I don't remember him doing too much against Brighton. I'd say you can take a chance with Martial, my friend. I don't think this game Trippier has a really high ceiling, unless he scores a free kick or something. I personally don't think he has a really high ceiling this game. I mean, if you look at Trippier, honestly, he hasn't... look, it's been how many games? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games. He just produced one double-digit haul, and, that's it. Other than that, it's been... I mean, this was the period of Kieran Trippier from game week 14 to game week 21. This was the period of Kieran Trippier, really, Even you go back a little bit, you can say from game week 9, 7, 7, 6, 9, then just one blank, and then 11, 12, 7, 12, 8, 8, 9, 8. I mean, one blank in like 22 game weeks. It's not 22, I think, 12 game weeks. It's insane numbers. This was the time of... After that, Kieran Trippier just had one double-digit haul in all of this. And most of the points are like 2s. It's not like 7s or 8s or 5s. Just 1 5, 1 12, and all the rest they're 2s. So I think Trippier's ceiling right now is not that high, which is why I've been considering whether I should put Shaw in the team. So I'm thinking about that as well. And let's see where we get to the end of before the deadline stream. But yes, I mean, you can play Martial as well. Sarfroz says, thanks, Wiz. I appreciate your valuable inputs. You're always welcome, Sarfroz. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. So guys, this is the entire, like, the scenario of my personal transfers. I'm personally thinking whether whether to, like, for example, if Haaland doesn't start and we get the news, although the fans, I just showed you, the fans seem to think, 100% of the fans seem to think that like Haaland is going to start. But let us just in case assume that Haaland doesn't start. So I'm still thinking in that case whether I should bring in Alvarez or not to kind of... Because what I'm going to do next week is already, it's set in stone. I'm going to bring in a Newcastle attacker. That's what I have to do next week. That's already... I've made up my mind about that, because Newcastle has a double game week coming up, and I want to obviously capitalize on that. So if you see here, you see Newcastle play against Leeds and they play against Brighton. So this is what I already know, that I'm going to get a double. I'm going to get a double game week out of Newcastle players. So I have Botman, I've got Trippier, and I'm going to add an attacking player. The only thing is whether I want to keep 2 transfers for that game week. But unfortunately, because I already have 2 Newcastle players, I can't add somebody in midfield like Joelinton or Murphy, or anybody else. I can't add them in the midfield because I already have 2 Newcastle players. So I'm thinking whether it doesn't make any sense for me to roll a transfer or have 2 transfers for that week when I'm going to make only one, which is to get Isaac or Wilson. Unless I had somebody like, let us say, Watkins, Kane and Haaland, I could have just transferred out Watkins and Kane and brought in 2 Newcastle attackers like Wilson and Isaac both. But since I've already have 2 defenders, I think for me 1 transfer in game week 36 should be enough. And that's exactly why I'm thinking to bring in Alvarez if Haaland doesn't start. So yeah, this is the plan, guys. And obviously, I am going to update my team on Twitter. And if I'm able to stream at that time as well, I'll stream close to the deadline as well. That is just subjective at the moment. I'm just waiting for a call from the MRI guy as to what time I'm supposed to come. So this is basically my plan, guys. I mean, if you have any more questions, any more doubts about your teams, just let me know. Basically, we're just getting ready for game week 36 and 37, guys. Game week 35 is just what you can say, it's just a preparation phase. You know, I honestly don't think that many ranks are going to be made or broken in this game week, because there's nothing much to choose between. You know, the Arsenal and the Newcastle game, I don't think too many people have got Arsenal players anymore. Not too many people have got too many Newcastle players. Yes, and even if they do, I think they're gonna bench the defenders as well. So that's the entire scenario. This game week is just a preparation for the upcoming 2 double game weeks, and that is exactly the end of the season sprint which we want to see, guys. So don't make your transfers, you know, I mean, if you like feel that your team is not set for game week 36, don't make unnecessary transfers just for one game week. You know, unlike, because when I played my wildcard, thinking about game week 36, thinking about game week 37, so my team looks set for those game weeks, right? If your team is not set, then roll a transfer or make a transfer which suits game week 36 more than game week 35. That is exactly what I want to advise you. Barry says, hey Barry, I hope you're doing well, my friend. Surfrose says, Wiz, MRI, hope all is good. Yes, Surfrose, at the start of the stream, I actually said that the reason why I'm doing this stream early today is because I sprained my ankle last week playing football, and it has not been getting better. First, my doctor told me to just rest and it is gonna get better. I was icing it and all that stuff, but the swelling is just not going down. So my doctor has advised me to go for an MRI on the ankle. So nothing major, my friend. I think hopefully everything's gonna be fine. I just want to be up and playing again. That's all I want to do. You know, otherwise it's all right to sit at home for a week or two and rest. But when it becomes long, then it just becomes frustrating, and that's exactly why I'm going for that. Thank you so much, Barry and Imran, guys. I really appreciate it, and I really hope I recover speedily. I mean, you know, especially for people who are doing the workouts, exercising every day, just sitting at home doing nothing, you know, it just becomes very difficult. Surfrose says, wish you a speedy recovery, brother. Take care. Thank you so much, Surfrose. Really appreciate it, my friend. So I just hope it all it's all nothing, and I should be back playing football in the next like 2-3 weeks. That's all I want. So guys, I mean, this is with my team. This is with I've been mostly answered all of the questions, but I'm still here for some time. The stream just started about 25 minutes back, so I'm just gonna spend more time here just in case anybody has any questions or doubts. I'm gonna stay here and clear the doubts, and I'm just gonna repeat myself again, guys. If I have time before the deadline stream and the guy just gives me a time for an MRI which is after the stream, the deadline, I'm still gonna come on and do the deadline stream. I'm just gonna spend my deadline with you again. MT says, get well soon. Thank you so much, MT. Appreciate it, my friend. So let me just take you to Twitter. So let's just look at Emma's rest of the predictions. You know, meanwhile, if you have some questions, just write and I'll let you know. So for example, guys, look at Arsenal's prediction. For anybody who owns, let us say, Martinelli, I just wanna show you here. Just a second. Liverpool, Brentford. Obviously with Liverpool, I'll show you Darwin 38%, Diaz 62%, you know, Gakpo 100%. Where's Jota? Jota 0%. 0% of the fans seem to think that Jota's gonna start against Brentford. 100% of the fans seem to think Gakpo's gonna start. They're divided between Darwin and Diaz, which is tough one. But I think Darwin didn't have a really good game against you know, Fulham. You know, it wasn't the best of games. He won a penalty and all that, but I mean, he wasn't convincing, to be honest with you. Just the guy just doesn't look clinical, you know. And Salah's 100%, Curtis Jones 100%, Harvey Elliott 71%, guys. Fabinho 100, Konate, Van Dijk. The defense is all cool. There's nothing to worry about in defense. In the attack, obviously, if you own Jota, I think you should, if Haaland doesn't start, move Jota on for Alvarez. If you know Haaland is starting, then you can roll the transfer and next week move him on for somebody like Wilson or Isaac. I know this question is going to be at the helm. Newcastle and Arsenal. This is it's Arsenal predictions, but I think we'd love Newcastle predictions as to know which wins like out of Isaac and Wilson starts. So guys, in this, Jesus 86%, but Martinelli is 51%. So any of you who owns Martinelli should be a little bit careful. Trossard is 63% to start. I mean, last game Trossard started against Chelsea. He did really well, and I think he was subbed off at around 60-70 minutes, and then Martinelli came on. But if you own Martinelli, you should be a little bit concerned with these predictions of the fans. Xhaka or Odegaard. I mean, between Partey and Jorginho, still the fans seem to think Partey is going to start. 66%, 34% think Jorginho is going to start. And the defense is all set. Holding, obviously, after the City game, he's not starting. Kiwior, Jakub Kiwior came in and he did really well against Chelsea, so he's starting again. And nothing as a surprise. The only thing is Martinelli in this real, who's the real doubt on the Arsenal fixture. Chelsea, I don't think anybody owns any players. Maybe Chilwell you own, which we already know is going to start. So I think that's with these predictions. Spurs, I mean, you already know who's going to start from Spurs. Manchester United, Sancho 67%, Martial 30%. So anybody who was asking me about Martial, guys, be careful, because the fans seem to think that this game Martial, 33% of the fans seem to think that Martial is going to start, and 67% of the fans seem to think that Jadon Sancho is going to make the start ahead of Martial. So be careful, guys. And Rashford obviously 100%, Anthony 80% going to start, Sabitzer 20, Fernandes 100, Eriksen 100, Casemiro 100, Malacia 35, Van Bissaka 46, Maguire 26. So obviously I think the one defender spot which is left, I think the fans are a little bit undecided, because they think that Dalot, Shaw and Lindelof are going to start, but along with that they're not sure whether Van Bissaka, whether Malacia or Maguire are going to start. So if Maguire starts, obviously Shaw plays at left back, which is good for the FPL players who own Luke Shaw, because in that way he plays more attacking, because when he plays as a centre back, he just doesn't go forward too much. So this is about Manchester United. I guess this is enough with the predictions, guys. I think most of the predictions we've gone through. And just in case you have any other, so this is the Liverpool prediction. You already can see there's no Jota in there, no Darwin Nunez, the predictions. But these are just predictions by the fans, so nothing is confirmed. Bipin says, I really want to punt on Foden for Grealish. What would you suggest? Bipin, if you want to take a punt, you know what, like a punt is a punt, right? It's a risk, but it's a risk which you think that holds a very like unproportionate reward as compared to the risk. That's exactly what the definition of a punt is. So if you feel and if you think that Foden is going to start, I think you can take the punt on Foden, because against Leeds they can be lethal, Manchester City, because Leeds have conceded like bucket load of goals in the past few weeks, and after conceding so many goals, you don't want to be playing Manchester City. Albeit I would offer you a caveat as well. I mean, they're having this new manager, Sam Allardyce, but I'm not sure how much magic Sam is going to be able to weave in the first match, and that too against Manchester City at Etihad Stadium. So I honestly think if you want to take a punt on Foden, you can, because only 20% of the fans seem to think that Grealish is going to start, and while 96% of the fans seem to think Foden is going to start. So you can take a punt on Foden if you want to, but it's a punt. Remember the meaning of a punt. There is a risk, but the reward is unproportional as compared to the risk. If you want to take a lesser risk, then you can wait for the team news to come out. Don't make the transfer now, Bipin. That would be my advice to you. Wait for the early team news. Follow this guide, team news and text. Actually, I'll show you all. I think this is going to be helpful, because I already think most of you are on FPL Twitter, but just in case you are not, I'm going to show you. This is the guide, team news and ticks, right? Remember and remember to note this. You see, I've turned on notifications for this guy, team news and ticks. Follow him because he gives the early team news always, and his leaks are always correct. So I'm gonna post this is in chat as well. So follow him and you will get early City team news. And once you get early City team news, guys, and from that you can then decide whether you want to, Bipin, you want to bring in Foden or you don't want to bring in Foden, because that way you'll know whether Grealish starts or not. So rather than guessing, we'll have like real information, right? This is what we really want to do, because that is that is I think a safer way to kind of just not speculate and do it. Yeah. MT says, for Manchester City double, do you prefer 3 attack or 1 defender and 2 attack? I think the problem with having a defender from Manchester City, MT, is we never know who is going to start. Even like the players which we feel that are pretty safe, like Akanji, they have been rotated. Players like Ake, obviously he got a hamstring injury, it was beyond his control. John Stones gets rotated. The only one I feel which is safe is Diaz, but even he has not played all the games this season, although he's playing most of the games right now. But I would prefer 2 attackers and 1 defender, but unfortunately the problem is I would not know who to go for. Even if you go for Ruben Diaz, obviously the ceiling is what, like 6, 7, 8 points, maybe a clean sheet and bonus points. That's it. I mean, attacking wise, Diaz just is the last man, right at the back. So he's defending, so it doesn't offer you much attacking threat. But yes, I do prefer 2 attackers and a defender. Are we getting City team news? Ashish, I think we are. But this guy, Team News and Ticks on Twitter, he said that if we get early team news, he said, I'll let you know. So, if we are to get early team news, then this is the guy to follow. I've already written the handle in the chat, guys. Matthias says, guys, Ross, Aka, FPL, Raptor might have the team news already. He does? What does he say then? Guys, if you get the team news from Raptor, just let me know. I would happily relay the team news to you here. Just gonna check on Twitter if anybody said anything about the team news. Just a second, guys. I'm checking Twitter if I can see anything. Right now, I don't see anything. Oh, Raptor says, if I hypothetically had City team news right now but wasn't 100% sure because it seems very, very, very early, would you rather I share it or just keep it to myself and not risk inaccurate information? He's right, to be honest with you. I mean, he doesn't want to give out wrong information, and I think he's pretty spot on with that. I'll show you what he's tweeted, by the way, guys, so just in case. I don't want to be here relaying wrong information myself, so better to kind of go and so this is what he's written, guys. You can have a look, you can check, and you can have a look. He says, if hypothetically if I had Manchester City team news right now but wasn't 100% sure, because last week he got the information one day before that Kevin De Bruyne has not traveled with the squad, and it turned out to be correct. So everybody like assumes that he has some information, right? So this is what he's saying. Let's see what updates we get while I'm streaming. If we get any updates, I'll let you know. If not, later on as well, I'll tweet it out. So guys, if you don't follow me on Twitter, if you want to, you can follow me, or you can just directly follow FPL Raptor, and you can skip following me. That's also an option. Matthias says he has had the right team news in the past. That is true. I checked his Twitter feed, Matthias. Yeah. She says, I have Havertz and Chilwell and really confused. Should I transfer Havertz out for a Newcastle striker, or should I wait this week playing Havertz? Honestly, Ashish, this is a very difficult question because, like Newcastle are playing against Arsenal. It's not the easiest game in the world, right? And Havertz, with Havertz, what I need to do is I need to check what the fans seem to think, whether he starts or not. If the fans seem to think he starts against Bournemouth, then why not just give him one more week, Although Bournemouth is not an easy team to play against, I give you that. Chelsea. Madueke 94%, Mudryk 60%, Havertz 91%. So I will give him a chance, my friend. If you want to go for the Newcastle striker, the only problem with me going for a Newcastle striker this week is that I don't know which Newcastle striker to go for. Whether to go for a Wilson, whether to go for this other guy like Isaac. That's the whole problem. Otherwise, I would have no problems about going for a Newcastle attacker this week. In case you are set on which striker you want to go for, then you should, I think you should go ahead and don't worry about it. Todd says, hey Wiz, hey everyone, hey my friend, I hope you're doing well, Todd. I would want him to share personally. Mattea, I mean, I know you want him to share right now because right now the deadline's not passed and we don't have the real team news. Later on, what's going to happen if in case that news turns out to be wrong or Pep changes the team later on, then it's going to be a big problem because everybody's going to be on his Twitter feed abusing him. That's the issue. People just try to help, but in case they're wrong. But then there's also the other side of the coin in which people actually really make up stories, and then they'll relay on Twitter just to get some traction. But I don't think FPL Raptor is like that. So I would personally also want him to relay the news with obviously the disclaimer that this news can turn out to be wrong, so you can interpret it as and how you want it to, So that's really what I would want him to do, just relay the news and just write it, write it down that, there's a disclaimer that whether, it could be right, it could be wrong. So people want to interpret it as they want to. All right. Hey, Buckshot, I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope the season's going well. So, it would help us to think about I agree with you, Mattea. I think it would really help us to think about the moves. And I've already decided my moves, so I'll actually write it down in the chat. So if Haaland starts, I roll the transfer. It's as simple as that, right? Second is Haaland doesn't start. Then what I'm gonna do is Watkins to Alvarez and Captain Salah. So it's very simple for me. I've already decided my moves. I don't want to I have no doubts in my mind to what I really want to do. So I just wait for the news, and as soon as we get news. But again, I'm repeating once again, guys, set your teams beforehand, because you know what happens if the news comes out that Haaland is not starting. The hamsters at FPL servers, they're gonna try to run as fast as possible, but in the end it's just not going to be enough because everybody's going to be just bombing the servers. Samir says streams a bit early for today's game week. Samir, yes, you're right. I've actually, I have to go for an MRI on my ankle. So I decided to do the stream early at the risk of, for example, the guy has not called me with the timings yet. So I did not really know whether I was going to be available for the deadline or not. So I decided to do the stream early at the risk of not doing the stream at all. So I think most of the questions are going to be answered right now. The only thing at deadline stream that could come up was the early team news. And that I think on Twitter everybody should come out to know anyway, And I personally think even if we have the early team news, I'm not sure how much the FPL server is going to hold up for us to do anything. So just set your teams beforehand, guys. It's known as the bus team in FPL Twitter. Just set your bus teams. Thank you so much, Samir. I really appreciate it. I don't want to be talking about my ankle on the stream, but just had to explain the reasons for doing the stream early today. Right. So no more tweets as of now for FPL Raptor. Maybe he's gonna relate later on. Maybe he's doing a deadline stream. He's gonna relay on that. But as soon as he does relay, we're gonna have the information, because as of now he didn't say anything. So let's just wait for anything which he says, guys. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, guys, just let me know. I'm gonna stream for a little bit more. I'm gonna wait for anybody, if you have any doubts, any questions for this game week or the upcoming game weeks, I'd be happy to help. Actually, we're gonna go over to Twitter again, and I'm gonna go to Ben Krillin. Let's have a look at game week 36 as well while we're at it. Let's just look at his spreadsheet which he made about the double game week. I'll just show you. I have to go through a lot of tweets here, but I don't mind. Just a second, guys. Too many tweets before. Yeah, there you go. So, guys, this is what game week 36 is gonna throw at us. So obviously, there's just two games who have a double game week in 36. One is Brighton and one is Newcastle. So basically most of us already have 3 players from Brighton. So the only team which you need to focus on is Newcastle. And in case of my own team, I've already got 3 Brighton players, and I've already got 2 Newcastle players in Botman and Trippier. So all that is left for me to do right here, is to go for 1 Newcastle attacker, and that's it. I don't need to do anything more. So I'll have 3 Brighton players, and I'm gonna have 3 Newcastle players. Okay, one more thing which you can do is, for example, in game week 35 you don't have any moves to make, right? And you can kind of roll your transfer, and especially if you own Brighton players like me, like March and Mitoma, and you really want to own somebody like McAllister, what you can do is you can swap your Brighton players as well. By not wasting the transfer, by using this transfer to kind of replace somebody like, let us say, Mitoma or Solly March with McAllister, because McAllister is on penalties. Technically, he has a chance to always score more points than the other 2. So in case you're like ruining yourself every time to make the decision, why did you go for March or Mitoma, and why didn't you go for McAllister and Mitoma? So this could be a chance to kind of get McAllister as well before the double game week. 2 double game weeks coming up, so that's also a chance. I mean, 4 games, 1 penalty. McAllister can outscore March and Mitoma both. So there's also an option for you, in case. And after that, obviously in 37, Brighton already have 3 players. City have a double game week as well. And I only have Haaland from City. And personally, what I think, I'm going to own maybe 1 more player from City in 37, but not more. It depends on how it's going, but I will own maybe Haaland. I definitely have, and I'm going to bring in somebody like, maybe Grealish or Alvarez or maybe Nathan Ake. Depends on who I want to bring in at that time. But I will not have 3 City players for this double. From Manchester United, I'm already set, guys. I already have 3 players in Fernandes, Rashford and Luke Shaw. Other than that, they've got Chelsea double. I had Kepa Arrizabalaga, but I transferred him out last week because I wanted the money for Trent Alexander-Arnold. But they only have a double of Manchester City away and Manchester United away, which I don't think is the best double. So I'm just gonna play Rhea, who plays Tottenham away, although not the best fixture, or Iverson, who plays Newcastle away. So maybe I'll hope for some save points. That's all I can hope for. But I'm not going to make another keeper transfer. I don't want to make keeper transfer now. This is not the time, because the ceiling of keepers is not that high. So no other teams have a double. So these are the teams which you need to focus on, especially Brighton. So if you don't have 3 Brighton, make them 3 Brighton. If you have 3 Brighton, you want McAllister in place of Mitoma or March, make the transfers. Now is the time, because if you don't have anything better to do. This game week, Newcastle, obviously, there's many players to go for right now. Trippier, obviously, everybody already owns. Along with that, if you don't own Botman, you can actually think about going for 2 attackers as well. For example, somebody like Murphy's been playing really well, Joelinton, or simply you could just go for Wilson and Isaac to accompany Trippier. If you're not sure whether Isaac is going to start or Wilson going to start, right? One way to take out the uncertainty out of this equation is to play both of them. That's also a possibility. So I hope, I gave you a brief picture about how the upcoming game weeks are going to look. Now let's go back and see if I have any more questions. Jota is worth keeping or taking out. So maybe this week, I think the fans seem to think that Jota is not going to start. Personally, if you don't have anything other this game week, like pertinent problems this game week, you can keep Jota, transfer him out next week for somebody like Isaac or Wilson. CAV says, sorry, I'm late. CAV, you're not late. I'm early. You're actually on time. I started the stream early. I had to go somewhere. So he says, start Trippier or Moreno and start 2 from Madders, McAllister plus Mitoma. This is out of Trippier and Moreno. Moreno plays against Wolves away. Not technically the easiest fixture, but you can, CAV, to be honest with you, you can take a chance with Moreno, because this week I don't think Trippier has a really high ceiling. Yes, he can give an assist and concede a goal. That would be like 4, 5, 6 points for Trippier. I think this is the ceiling of Trippier this week, unless he goes berserk and scores a free kick goal or something like that. You can take a chance with Moreno, because last week Wolves conceded crazy goal. You know, like it was. I was watching and it was like a bit of craziness. Like 6 goals Brighton scored against them. Like left, right, and center they were conceding goals. So either Lopetegui just makes them more, you know, like more compact defensively, you know, and they don't attack as much, which is still good for Moreno, or if they try to attack, that is still good for Moreno. So I think you can take a chance with playing Moreno here. From Matters, McAllister and Mitoma, this is a very difficult one, my friend. I mean, I would personally, I think against Everton, it's good to play the 2 Brighton players. They're so high on confidence, they're scoring goals, although it feels a bit difficult to bench Matters. I mean, if you get the early team news that Foden is starting, I mean, I would take a punt on Foden against Leeds at home, you know, because I mean, that would be awesome. Also, I have no Salah. If Haaland doesn't start, should I do Haaland and Matters to Salah and Alvarez for a -4? The problem is, I like those moves, CAV, but the problem is next week you're gonna want Haaland back. You know, that is the issue. So if you want to do Salah and Alvarez, I like those moves for this week if Haaland is not starting. But then again, next week you're gonna have to take a -4 to get Haaland back. I think you have to think of a way to fit Haaland and Salah both in your teams. I don't think there's an if and or possibility, or, you know, and or possibility here. I think you have to make it Salah and, you know, Haaland. It's not either or. Samir says, I've got Isaac on the bench. Should I start him over Jota? Samir, I think I would. If you got Isaac already in your team, I think I would start him over Jota, because I don't think Jota's going to start. I mean, at least the fans don't seem to think that Jota's going to start. The Liverpool fans, the predictions I just showed you. Odegaard to Rashford for a -4. I mean, he did score 2 goals against Chelsea last week, but I think, yes, Todd, I think you can do this move, but I don't I don't personally think I'm not sure if it's worth the -4. Let me see. United are playing Wolves next week, right? So that's a good fixture. You want to own Rashford in that fixture in game week 36. This week it's West Ham away and Arsenal's Newcastle away. It's a tough one to kind of recommend for a -4, Todd. If it was for a free, then I would say yes. I mean, let us assume Odegaard scores what, 4 points, 3 points, 2 points. You know, it still need Rashford to score 6 points to kind of, you know, to kind of break even. Just to break even. For you to gain an advantage, Rashford has to score more than 6 points, which I think obviously is realistic. I'm not saying it's unrealistic, but it's a 50-50 for me, with a slight inclination towards Rashford. That's all I can say here, Todd. It's a difficult one, just because of the fact that Odegaard scored 2 goals last week. Otherwise, I would simply, if Odegaard would have scored 2 points against Chelsea, I would say yes. Desmond says, hi Wiz, should start Isaac or Watkins, Stones or Shaw? This, out of Stones and Shaw, I think I would put in Stones. If Stones doesn't start, I don't see him coming on, you know, in the second half, so that means Shaw automatically comes in. Out of Isaac and Watkins, I would say if you own Isaac, I think you can start him. I don't see the game between Arsenal and Newcastle being a 0-0 draw. I think there's going to be goals in that. So you want to be take a risk and play Isaac. Watkins has trailed off a little bit in the past few weeks. As if you see Watkins here, in the last 3 weeks is just 2-2-2. Earlier, before that, he was actually banging like goals like crazy. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. One blank in 12 game weeks before that. And now 3 blanks in a row. It seems like the old Ollie Watkins is back. XG, 0 XG against United, 0.25 against Fulham, 0.3 against Brentford. It's not shabby. I mean, but look at the goals he scored. 0.08 xg, 0.08 xg, 0.61. This is fine. I mean, he just scored, is outscored his XG, I think, once. Yeah, this is only when he outscored his XG a little bit. Otherwise, he's always kind of overperformed Watkins. So it had to blow off, and this was the final blow off when he scored like 2 goals and 1 assist against, at home to Newcastle. There was a freak result. I mean, everybody expected Newcastle to like be more of a challenge for Aston Villa. But anyways, I think personally you can play Isaac, my friend. It's a difficult question to answer for me right now. Abhijit says I think I'm rolling this week. I mean, I'm rolling this week as well if Haaland starts. No problems there, Abhijit. And CAV says I was thinking of rolling, so I can have triple Newcastle next week. I expect Haaland to start anyway. Well, if you expect Haaland to start, then you have to roll. You should think about rolling. Would you sell Grealish? I would never like to be 100% assertive with my statements here, because I'm just giving opinions here. It's not decisions. I want you guys to make your own decisions here. Would you sell Grealish for Mahrez if we know he starts? I would, Matteo. Yes. Against Leeds, who concede lots and lots of goals, I would take a chance and play a Manchester City player. Take a chance. This is all that there is to it. You always want to jump on players like Mahrez when the risk reward is less, is very high. I mean, the risk is less and the reward is disproportionate. That is when you want to take a risk on somebody like Son, Mahrez. When like the risk reward is low, then that is not a time. If you know Mahrez starts, you can take a punt, and Grealish doesn't, you can take a punt on Mahrez, yes. Alright. Some says 0 XG against United for Watkins. That was a game in which Aston Villa didn't get a sniff. CAV says, the XG is hard to look at alone for me. He had a chance 2 yards out where Delo fouled him and he slipped. He still got into good areas in Villa. That game, Villa were just generally poor, to be honest with you. I watched that game. Never felt like, that, Villa were gonna like do anything in that game. Albeit, United just scored 1 goal. It wasn't like a very good game from Aston Villa. Aston Villa had chances. John McGinn had a fantastic chance. I'm just saying that Ollie Watkins didn't have a chance, John McGinn had, obviously, I remember he had a really good chance, and there was one more cleared off the line. I think somebody cleared it. Lindelof, I think it was, cleared off the line with Douglas Luiz, almost close to scoring. Yeah. Douglas Luiz should have scored that goal. So should have John McGinn. And yeah, Aston Villa actually hammered home a lot of chances. Like they did try a lot. They kept banging on the door. Unfortunately, it was just United were resilient in the defense. It was not like they had chances. But Ollie Watkins personally didn't have too many chances. I'd just like to say that. I like to correct myself, guys. I actually watched the game live, so I can say that. I think. Yeah, Jassim says Fernandes to Mahrez and Greenwood to Alvarez on the basis of team news. Fernandes to Mahrez and Greenwood to Alvarez for a -4. If you can simply do Greenwood to Alvarez, I think that would be still good enough, Jassim. But if you want to do it, this is okay. Here the risk reward is not that high, because again, you're taking a -4 hit. And Fernandes is a player who has a double game week next week, so do you really want to take him out? He's on penalties for United. You have to think about the long-term aspects as well. Taking out Grealish for Mahrez is very different to taking out Bruno Fernandes for Mahrez. Bruno Fernandes is playing really well right now, so you have to be careful. He scored like 11 points the last week, 11 or 13, I think. I don't remember exactly, but you get my point, right? So the risk reward with Grealish to Mahrez is very high, as compared to risk reward with Fernandes to Mahrez. That's exactly what I was talking about. So Abhijit says, I think Haaland plays the half, scores 1 goal, gets subbed off at 45. Abhijit, the problem is if he plays one half against this Leeds United team, he can end up scoring 2 or 3 is the issue. you know. And the reason is, if you don't captain, you're just going to be playing against the effective ownership. That's the problem. Would you put the armband on Mahrez? But yeah, this is a very difficult one. Although I know where you're coming from. You're thinking that if Haaland gets taken off, then obviously Mahrez is going to be on penalties. I personally, if you take Mahrez, I think that's a differential good enough. Personally, for me, I'm a little bit of a safer kind of an FPL player. I like to take risks which are high RR. I don't like to play against the Haaland captaincy personally, just for me, my friend. Haaland starts according to FPL Raptor, guys. So I was just showing you the tweet of FPL Raptor. So according to FPL Raptor, Haaland starts, and that's good because I get to roll the transfer. And right, so I'm just going to take you to this tweet so all of you can see. Don't don't kill the messenger. I mean, not me. I'm not talking about myself. I'm not the messenger. I'm saying FPL Raptor. I've got nothing to do with any of this. So just take it with a pinch of salt, and at least somebody's trying to give us some information. We should kind of appreciate them for that, right? Let me just take you there. So this is what FPL Raptor says. He says, I'm told Haaland starts today. Huge caveat that this is much earlier than I'd usually get starting 11 info. So I'm still a bit unsure on this. Hoping to get Ederson Grealish news on the deadline stream. So guys, if I'm not doing the deadline stream today, you know where you want to be. he might give you some news on the deadline stream. If I'm doing the deadline stream here, then obviously we'll get the news from FPL Raptor's deadline stream. I'm going to relay the news to you. So if you want to go to the original source, FPL Raptor is the original source. It's your call if you want to act on this. I'm just sharing the info. So guys, this is the info. You can take it with a pinch of salt and decide how you want to act on this. I'm going to leave it here for like 2 minutes and so you can all read, and then I'm going to change it. Not concrete, says FPL Sam, but we take it with a pinch of salt. Nothing more from Raptor. That's fine. I think that's good enough. That's really good enough. I mean, he got the news about Haaland and he told us. I think that's good enough. So thanks to FPL Raptor. I really appreciate it. CAV says, I agree. However, Moreno still had a good chance. Buendia had about 3 chances where he placed a poor pass. Konza blocked a Mings header off the line. Yes, I revoked my statement about Aston Villa not having chances. I think they had a lot of chances. It was about Ollie Watkins personally. Matthias says, it's what we want to hear some anyway. That's true. That's true. Any chance for Grealish to be benched? Abhijit, I think there's a very high chance for Grealish to be benched. I actually, you were not here. I actually showed the predictions, and the fans of Manchester City, this 20% of the fans seem to think that Grealish is going to start. 60% think Mahrez is going to start. Obviously, Grealish on the same side as Grealish, Foden plays, and 92% of them think Foden is going to start. So I mean, take it with a pinch of salt as well, because they are fans. They don't have insider information. But look at the conviction. 92% think Foden is going to start, and 20% think Grealish is going to start. So that accounts for something, right? Zara says, hey Viz, just tuning in, hope you're well and I don't miss much. Hey Zara, I hope you're doing well. I'm fine, my friend, and I hope the same for you. You didn't miss much at all. We just had the most an important piece of news from FPL Raptor, in which somebody shared some information with him that Haaland is starting. So that makes our life much easier. The hamsters at FPL servers are going to be thankful. I just want to say that. So yeah, I mean, they don't need to work overtime. If Haaland was not starting and the news came out, my word, it would have been absolute calamity with the FPL servers, and those poor hamsters would have to just run hard in the end to watch the servers still crash. So I'm happy for those hamsters. But we just didn't get any other news, so I'm hoping by the time we get close to the deadline, we'll still get some concrete news about what's gonna happen. Sorry, I just tuned in. So is Grealish to Mahrez the move? Abhijit, you want to make the move, you can, but wait for the early team news. Team News and Tix is gonna put out some early team news today, and wait for the team news. As soon as we get the team news, we're gonna share it on the Twitter group. FPL Sam, all Matea, everybody's gonna share that news in the Twitter group, and then from that you can You can act on what you want to do. For example, if Foden starts, you can take a punt on Foden. If you want, you can take a punt on Mahrez. You want to take a punt on Alvarez. Only do it after you know that Grealish is not starting and Mahrez or Foden is starting. So no decisions to be made right now. Just like me, write the possibilities. I've pinned a tweet in which I've already made my possibilities clear. If Haaland starts, I roll the transfer. Haaland doesn't start, Watkins to Alvarez, captain Salah. Crystal clear, nothing to worry about. You know, that's all I think. So I'm just going through Twitter, and that's the only piece of news we're gonna get from FPL Raptor, hopefully. And that's good enough. It's good enough because yeah, I'll let you know if anything comes up, guys. So guys, if you have any other questions, if you have anything to kind of ask or doubts about the upcoming game weeks, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna put an end to this stream for now. And in case I feel that I have time, close to the deadline stream, I will tune in back and I will start the stream, and then I'm gonna stream with you until the deadline. Because if I come to know that my MRI is gonna be delayed and I have to go after the deadline, so I'll still come online and I'll still kind of stream for you within, let's say, for another half an hour or so. So so I'll just wait for 5 minutes. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, just let me know. Otherwise, then we can put an end to the stream. By the way, in case I don't deadline stream, guys, FPL Raptor is going to be streaming. He might get some early Manchester City team news, so you definitely should tune in there and see if you get any news and make your transfers according to that. You don't wait for the news. Don't wait for the news and then make your decisions. Make your decisions like 2 columns. Haaland starts, I do this. Haaland doesn't start, I do this. You just need to act when you get the news. Don't sit making decisions. I learned this the hard way in the stock market. When you buy stocks, when you're trading, when you're taking your entries, when you're taking your exits, you don't plan at that time. You just execute. You have to make the plan one day before, or before the market opens. You already should know what you're gonna do with your, for example, if the stock moves this much, I sell. If the stock goes down by this much, I sell. This is how you kind of trade, Otherwise, the people who make rash decisions at that time, always end up killing the poor hamsters because they have to work so hard. Right. So CAV says, how many points did you get last week? It was pretty strange because I got really good points, but it was 116, right? And the problem was I took a -8 hit. If you see here, I took a hit -8, and the players which I transferred out, my word, it was absolutely insane. I transferred out Ake for Alexander-Arnold. Ake didn't play the one game. He came in for the second game. He scored 15 points, and Alexander-Arnold just scored 11. I mean, insane, I transferred out Odegaard for Salah. Odegaard scores 2 goals. It's insane. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. But I mean, obviously Salah ended up scoring decent points as well. So I'm not complaining. But it was a good week. My rank is absolutely nailed on to the 100k. It's like, I think it's 101 something, So I just want to end the season with a sprint and see how high I can finish. That's all there is to it, my friend. I don't know whether I should be happy or sad, but this was a good score, and the logic worked. I mean, I never expected Odegaard to score like 2 goals against Chelsea. FPL Sam says, well, good side, at least you didn't bring Robbo. Yeah, that's true. I was debating right at the end of the stream. I began to debate whether I should go for Robertson. Should I take a -8 hit or a -4 hit? But you guys managed to knock some sense into me, guys. And I ended up bringing in Trent. So at least it didn't hurt me that much. If I transferred out Ake for Robertson, it would be a big swing. Right now it was kind of break even. That would have been a bad swing. CAV says, oh wow, some bad luck. No Salah hurt me as expected as a Villa fan. That Mac Allister second goal hurt me in terms of the table, but at least he was in my team. That hurt me as well. I mean, I had Luke Shaw. I had Luke Shaw on a clean sheet, and I didn't have Mac Allister, so that goal actually hurt me a lot in terms of FPL, and that was just a last minute penalty. Although I think it was a penalty. I mean, Luke Shaw did touch it. His arm was in an awkward position, but in FPL terms, it did hurt me a lot. Zara says transferred out Kane and Mac Allister last week and didn't have Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oh man, Zara. Well, if you brought Salah in, then I think it was still worth it, right? To be honest with you, Brighton have 2 double game weeks coming up. Zara, you need 3 Brighton players. You should have Mac Allister in your team. I mean, either of the midfielders. I mean, March, Mitoma, Mac Allister, and Estupinan. So you should have 3 Brighton players, because I just showed you there's like 2 double game weeks coming up for Brighton, and you need their players. They're playing amazing football. And for anybody who doesn't own 3 Brighton players, guys, this guy's what's his name? Enciso Sensio. For the life of me, I can't remember his name, guys. Just hang on. This Brighton player, what's his name? My God. I can't remember his name. Is he a midfielder or a forward? Come on, guys. What's this guy's name? The young Enciso, exactly. Sorry, yeah. So Enciso looks a really good punt if you want to kind of take a punt on one of those Brighton players. I mean, plays really well. Sometimes plays the furthest forward, does pressing, plays really well. T-Tax is Enciso. Thank you so much. Thank you T-Tac, and thank you FPL Sam as well. Yeah, he's a forward, right? So I mean, he's a good punt. It's not very expensive. Even Danny Welbeck sometimes looks like a good punt, but the problem is he gets taken off for Undav, and he gets taken off for these other players as well. I can't again pronounce his name. The young player. So I mean, and Ciso looks like a good punt from Brighton. So you can. Shall I start Robertson or Dunk? I'd start Robertson, tag. Although I think, if you ask me, I think Brighton have a higher chance of a clean sheet. Robertson, I think, has a more chance of an attacking involvement. If Liverpool keep a clean sheet, then that's just an added bonus. So you have to take a chance, because Dunk is not that attacking. Even from set pieces, he doesn't really score much nowadays. So you can take a risk and start Robertson. Although I don't feel there's much between them. If I had those two of them, I would start both. But if I had to choose one, I'd start Robertson. Amit says Dunk versus Estupinan. Estupinan, I would say. Estupinan, in this double game week, how many chances Estupinan got to score a goal? God damn, this guy can't finish. Such good passes one was from Lewis Dunk. He put him on one-on-one with the goalkeeper. This guy could not just chip Pickford, man. It's just absolutely is. Obviously, you don't expect a left back to have finishing like Harry Kane, but I mean, how can he not finish those chances? It was just one-on-one with the goalkeeper 2 or 3 times, and he just fluffed his lines, this guy. I was so much hoping that he scores a goal, and he still ended up at good scores, but I mean, he could have been much better. Zara says, I had no easy way to Salah, unfortunately, so I had to sacrifice Mac Allister. Well, if you got Salah, then I think you made the right choice. But for the double game week, I feel you need to get 3 Brighton players, Zara. That's all I want to say. Even if you transferred Mac Allister out, you have to get him back. So just saying. But it's not this week. It's next week. But even this week, they play against Everton, so it's not any time is not a bad time to bring in 3 Brighton players on your team. T-Tax says I have Trent Alexander-Arnold. So if you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, you can start Dunk. You can divide the risk rather than compound the risk. I think you can divide the risk by putting in Dunk as well as Trent. So I think that serves you the best of both worlds. You get a Brighton defense and you get a Liverpool attacking defender. Trent is much more attacking and plays in midfield as compared to Robertson. And I think Robo sometimes gets taken off for Simicast. Trent doesn't. Is there early Villa team news? Sneaky feeling Moreno might be dropped for Dean. And that's the problem with owning Moreno, to be honest with you, CAV. But if Moreno doesn't start, do you see the chance that he comes on in the second half? I personally feel if Moreno doesn't start, I think Dean's just gonna stay on, right? Unless he has a shocker, So I would not be too worried. But I don't think we're gonna get early Villa team news. I don't think that because everybody's kind of asking for. Asking, for Kane, for Haaland and all these, like Grealish. These are what people are asking for. Girid says, if you have Haaland, Grealish, Robo, Brighton mids, how much rotation to expect today? Grealish, I think we should expect rotation. Haaland, well, until now, the news we have, we feel that we think that he's going to start, but as we get closer to the deadline, we might have this information. We have more information on this. Robo, I expect to start today. Brighton mids, I expect to start most of them because I think they've got their well-deserved rest. Mitoma got a rest. McAllister got a rest. Solly March got a rest. I expect all of them to start today. The only one I would expect to rotate is Grealish or maybe Haaland. Depends on the on the fact that how much time you're expecting him to play. I think if Haaland starts, he scores a couple of goals, he gets taken off. If he doesn't start, maybe he comes on in the second half in case City are struggling. Just to add to his tally. Marco says, "Hey, what are your predictions on Brighton Everton? Brighton didn't score in their last 2 home games against Everton. I'm thinking about benching my Brighton midfielders." Marco, this is a very different Brighton team that you are seeing. De Zerbi is actually getting a tune out of them. Even Potter was a really good coach. He got them to play the way they're playing right now. But look at what De Zerbi is making them do. These young midfielders like Enciso and Mitoma, all these flamboyant players, and I see no chance of Everton keeping a clean sheet against them. I think they're definitely gonna do well today. Although it's a Sean Dyche team and whatever, but I think I don't see a way that Brighton don't score unless Mitoma goes the full Darwin Nunez mode again and just begins to fluff his chances. Even against Manchester United, Mitoma missed so many chances. One, he just rammed straight into De Gea's face, and I think they're good. I think if I had Brighton midfielders, I would not bench them. Let's say that. CAV says, I can see Dean on and swapped for Moreno if Adama comes on for pace. That's true. Yep. Adama is a totally different story. Powerhouse. CAV, if you feel that, then I think you can, you can then not play Moreno then, because this then is. If you have this kind of a feeling, then you can start Trippier. But I don't think the Trippier ceiling is that high. But at least he plays 90 minutes week in, week out, and in case he scores a free kick, gives an assist off a corner, then that's the added bonus. Then, you play. I think you play Trippier. Corona Light says, I sold Haaland for Harry Kane. True or not? True or not? I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, I would not like that too much because I would keep Haaland in my team till the end of the season. So that's just me. I hope it's not true. Marco says, thank you, my man. You're always welcome, my friend. CAV says, Mitoma versus AWB is a great battle. Would happily watch them against each other every week. That's true. It was amazing. And he did beat Aaron Wan-Bissaka a lot more in this game than he did in the past one. He went past him, and he almost should have scored a couple of chances there. I think his finishing is suffering a little bit, but otherwise I think he had a much better game against Wan-Bissaka this time around. CAV says, I'm probably being pessimistic. Cash in for Young at right back more likely than a change at left back. Well, CAV, I mean, you're the Aston Villa fan. You should know much more about Aston Villa as compared to myself, who is just enthusiastic FPL manager who's basically an Arsenal fan. So you have to take the call based on your gut feeling. But I don't think there's going to be much difference between Moreno's or Trippier's points at the end of the game week. Let's just say that. Corona says, I think Haaland has a game against Madrid. He won't play much. That is true, Corona, but even if he doesn't play much, let's say he plays the first 45 minutes against Leeds, who've just got a pathetic defense right now, he can still score 2 goals, and I think that's good enough, So I think Kane is obviously a great FPL asset, but not at the expense of Haaland. If I can say that. Brian says, hi mate, if Alvarez starts, would you do Isaac to Alvarez and reverse in game week 36? I've thought about it, and I would be losing the advantage I have on others by already having Isaac right. Brian, if rest of the players you already have like 3 Newcastle players, and if you just want to take Isaac out for Alvarez and bring in Isaac back, I don't think that's a bad thing, especially if you have all the other players for game week 36 and 37 which you already want in your team. You already have them. Then if there's nothing better to do, then you can do this, you can make these moves, and I don't think that it's going to be it's a bad move to make, especially if Alvarez is starting and Haaland is not. That would be amazing, because then Alvarez plays as a striker, then the ceiling would be pretty high. If Alvarez starts with Haaland, then I would be 50-50, and obviously if Alvarez doesn't start, then there's no need of transferring out Isaac. If Haaland is not starting and Alvarez is starting, that would be the case. I would 100% think about making this move. Although Isaac against Arsenal, it could be still good points for Isaac as well, So I'm not saying that Isaac is not going to score against Arsenal, not going to score good points against Arsenal, but it's just the upside chasing, Or if you have some other striker you can take out, that is also a possibility. By the way, I don't want to be showing my points. Let's just go to my team. Just a second here. Right. Have you seen that the game is on TV even though it is at 3 p.m.? Have you seen that the game is on TV even though it's at 3 p.m.? We get all the games here on TV, CAV. I've taken this subscription, and we're able to tune in on any game which we want to watch. It's not like the UK that we get very few games which are telecasted live inside the UK. For us, we get a lot of games. We get all the games personally. We can flick through the games whichever we want from this online subscription. It's only a problem in the UK. Same as the Leicester game for Haaland. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I've been thinking. Krana says, I understand you, but even Leeds is playing downhill, which means it will not be an easy match. That is true. I know what you mean. I mean, they've got a new manager in Sam Allardyce, and they're obviously playing to stay up. They don't want to get relegated. But such teams, I don't think they can hold the fort at the Etihad Stadium against the City team. Although I would love it if that happens, even though I'm captaining Haaland. I would love that if Leeds, keep Manchester City out, but I don't see the realistic possibility of that happening. Brian says, I see it as having 4 free transfers from now to the end of the season. I would be using 2 free transfers on Alvarez and Isaac. Some people are already down 3 free transfers. They must get Isaac Wilson with one of their free. Yeah, that is true, but the transfers are for the upside chasing. So if you see more upside in Alvarez and you end up getting him, I don't see that as a bad move, especially at the end of the season, and where you kinda don't have any other better moves to make or better upside to chase. You can make this move, because when we are in game week 21, game week 19, game week 15, then you ask me of such moves, I'd say don't waste your transfers, because we have to plan for the long term. Right now, we don't have to plan for the long term. We make short-term transfers, we get some gains, we get out. It's like trading, intraday. Now is not long-term investing time. Long-term investing is at the start of the season. Right now is the time to make some upside moves. If it works out, good. Doesn't work out, get out. Get out of jail. Simple. Boom. Just like that. Right? It's just my opinion, bro. I'm not saying you should. I'm not forcing you to make that move. I'm just giving you my opinion, right? Barry says UK problem with. Yep, totally, my friend. Understand. CAV says, I thought you were in the UK this whole time. No, CAV, I'm not from the UK. Based in India, specifically North India in Punjab. I'm based in India. Gired says to start Shaw or Trippier. This is the $1 million question which I've been asking myself. I've been putting Shaw in, Trippier out, Trippier in, Shaw out this whole time? If you can give me the answer, I'd love that. Let's just let fantasy football give us the answer. By the way, was I supposed to be streaming for such a long time? I don't even know. Let's see what happens. First, let me compare them. Then I'm gonna decide what to do. I was about to go away, and then I just we started talking, and here I am, like 15-20 minutes later. All right, where was I? United. Luke Shaw. By the way, thanks to Fantasy Football Fix as always for sponsoring my streams, and thanks for letting us use their website online to compare these Opta stats, which are like really helpful, guys. So much thanks to. It's a fantastic website, to be honest with you. I use it a lot. Especially, they've got a feature in which they've got elite team reveals. All these like 10-15 elite managers, they reveal their teams. I'm not unfortunately not allowed to show these teams here, because that I think maybe affects their subscription, but I'm still allowed to show you these Opta stats. Right, where's Trippier? Right, nice. So we're comparing them from the start of the season. Obviously, points wise, Trippier is much ahead of Shaw, because he's the highest scoring defender in the game right now. So obviously it's what's going on here? Yeah, Luke Shaw obviously on the left side, Trippier on the right side. Average position, I don't think we need to compare. We already know that Trippier is obviously playing much farther ahead than Shaw, because Shaw's not played all the games at left back. He's played some games at centre back, some at left back. Trippier always plays at as right back. Shots. Obviously, Luke Shaw takes. Trippier's not even taking a shot from inside the box till now. Luke Shaw takes a lot of shots from inside the box. Really, really high XG chances as well. You know, not really high XG, but yeah, very low. Only this one was high XG actually. He takes his shots from inside the box as well. So this is obviously attempted assists would be much higher for Trippier. Luke Shaw doesn't attempt as many, because Trippier is on all the set pieces, corners, free kicks. So let's just go to the points per 90 minutes, and let's see. So per 90 minutes, Luke Shaw's got slightly more goals than Kieran Trippier. I think Shaw's got 1, Kieran Trippier's got 1. XG is slightly higher for Luke Shaw. It doesn't make any difference. They've both got negligible XG, negligible goals as well. Shots, obviously Luke Shaw's taking a little bit more shots than Trippier, and from inside the box as well. Shots on target similar. Shots in the box, obviously Kieran Trippier is taking no shots in the box. He does. Actually, we should be comparing their defensive stats, right? We're comparing their attacking. Goal assists, obviously Trippier has more assists. He's got 6. Luke Shaw's got 2. Expected assists, obviously more. Look at the attempted assists here. 3 for Trippier, only 1.24 for Shaw. Big chances created, almost 3 times for Trippier. Crosses, almost similar, but better for Trippier. I mean, stats-wise, guys, you know, I feel Trippier is better. But then you also have to look at the opponent. You know, Trippier is playing against Arsenal. It's a very a game on which is very high stakes are riding, not for Newcastle, because Newcastle, I think they've already qualified for the Champions League, and they're gonna qualify for the Champions League, not already qualified, but for Arsenal it's about staying alive in the title race, although I think that City's gonna win the title now, but it's about staying alive in the title race. All right. Jimmy says, what's the name of your subscription? It's called Hotstar, my friend. It's in India, and it's like a Disney Hotstar kind of. It's a combination here we get in India. So all the matches are on. We can just flick between any match which we want to watch. Even later on, all the replays, all the highlights are available. Even the full match replays are available for us to watch. So that's where I actually just go and watch match of the day, watch all the highlights before I come to the stream. So I know which players to pick, which players I want to select. So it's really a blessing for us here. Samir says, enjoying the IPL, thoughts on the impact players? Yeah, I enjoy the IPL. I just just don't watch it too religiously. I just watch it actually we grew up playing cricket here in India all the time, so I guess we're just more attracted to football right now. It's just it's just too much cricket in my life ever since my childhood. So I guess, and right now it's just too much cricket, anyways. All the time. So I do watch it. I have fun. I support obviously my own team, Kings 11 Punjab, but not more than that. Is it better to take player from Manchester City or not? I think it is better to take a Manchester City player, but the thing is, you have to know who's gonna start. Either you take a player which you feel is more nailed on, like for example somebody like Ruben Diaz, you think is gonna start most of the games. That's the only problem. Otherwise, Manchester City players are obviously point scoring machines, right? Brian says, I agree about the planning. In fact, if I don't go for Alvarez, my best move in 36 would be involved selling Trent, which is not ideal. The extra transfers which I have by keeping Isaac are not necessary. Exactly my point, Brian. That's exactly my point. CAV says it's only Brighton and Newcastle with the double next week. That's CAV, only Brighton and Newcastle, bro. Giret says, I'm thinking when Casemiro starts. To start Shaw. Stats elevate. Trippier. Yeah, that's true. It omits much of the recency bias. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just showed you that in the last 11 game weeks, Trippier has got one double-digit haul and has blanked in most of the game weeks. So Newcastle have become better at attacking, but they have started conceding the odd goal, which obviously wipes away the clean sheets. That's the issue. I'm undecided between Trippier and Shaw, and I still don't know which one I'm going to start. So when I post my team on Twitter close to the deadline, that's the only time you're going to know which one I'm starting. Although, it's difficult, my friend. Very difficult. Corona says, did I take a player from City, a good or a bad option for Tony? Should I replace him with a player from City? No, I think if you have Ivan Toney, you can play him. Ivan Toney is scoring goals every week. I mean, I personally would not take him out. I would play him. Just in case you want to take a punt, I think if you get the news that Alvarez is starting, you can take a punt on Alvarez. But I would keep Tony. He's a great option. FPL Sam says West Ham are all focused on Europa Conference midweek. That is true. That is a point which obviously, and they're more tired because they've got less recovery time. They play these European games and then they play these Premier League games. Also, they don't have such depth as Manchester City that they can rotate an entire team and still win games. So they have to play their key players over and over and over again, and that sometimes wears them out. So I think that's the real plus point for Manchester United, that they're going to be focused on their Conference League game. Samir says, can't see Arsenal not scoring. Me neither, my friend. I've been telling to everyone on the stream that I don't see the possibility that this game ends up 0-0. I expect Newcastle to score and I expect Arsenal to score. So it's going to be a scoring game. I don't know who's going to win. I hope Arsenal wins, but I think this is a game in which City can nab the title. I think Newcastle can win this game, especially in the amazing form that they've been in. Krona says, thanks, bro. You're always welcome, bro. CAV says, and have illness in the camp. Rice, Agard, Soucek all missed the City game. Zuma injured as well. I think Rice is going to be back. I think they had some gut problems, I think because of something they ate or illness or something like that. I think they're going to be back, hopefully. So that's something that we need to consider, guys. Very valuable points by CAV and FPL Sum, and the point is that West Ham are focusing on the Conference League in Europe, and they know that they're not gonna get relegated now. West Ham, they know that they can't get into the European positions for the next season, so why not better to focus on the Conference League, which they can still win. It's accolades as well, and it still earns a position in the Europa League. So I think it's a win-win situation for West Ham not to focus too much attention on this game. Moyes said a few more are struggling. Alright. And Moyes, I think, is generally very honest. He doesn't play games. There's never been a Moyes roulette, to be honest with you. Start Forster or Kepa. I mean, neither Tottenham. I mean, Chelsea obviously have, on paper, it looks like an okay kind of a game, but Bournemouth is still scoring goals. Crystal Palace obviously have been really good these past weeks under Hodgson. I think you can. It's a difficult one, to be honest with you, my friend. I think you can take a chance and start. Let us say, Kepa maybe for the save points, because I don't see Crystal Palace not scoring and I don't see Bournemouth not scoring, but maybe Kepa for the saves. Just think which keeper do you think is going to make more saves? What's your football stream subscription called? It's called the Disney Hotstar, Jimmy. I answered previously as well. It's called Disney Hotstar. You know, it's in India. It's just a regional subscription kind of, and it allows us to select any game that we want to watch. So maybe, you know, if you can find a way to buy this Indian subscription, you can watch all the games. Yeah. Get both teams to score. Parlay by the sound of it. Yeah, I guess so. You know, maybe something like that happens. That's exactly what they call match fixing and stuff, you know, in such games. Because these, I think obviously Manchester United have a lot to play for, and also that adds the impetus, guys. Girid says Hotstar on VPN all round. Should not be saying this on a live stream, but yeah, I guess. CV says, so basically, you know, I mean, guys, all the thing is, Newcastle and Arsenal have all to play for, right? Newcastle playing for the top 4, Arsenal obviously playing to keep the title hopes alive. So there are two teams going head to head for something which they have to play for. On the other hand, if you talk about United, Manchester United lost to Brighton, so they're going to have added impetus to kind of motivation to win, to get into the top 4, to you know, cement their position. And West Ham, on the other hand, they don't have anything to play for because they're safe from relegation mostly, and you know, they have Europa Conference League. So I think based on these facts, I think you can pick Shaw. I think I've talked myself into picking Shaw, and watch now Trippier scored 12 points and me crying on the next stream. But yeah, it's still gonna make a late decision, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna be committal right now. I'll post my team on Twitter with like 2 minutes to go to the deadline. Jimmy says, legend, thanks, man. You're always welcome, bro. So guys, I think I've outlasted my stream with what, like, it's already been what, 1.5 hours I started streaming. I thought I'm gonna stream for like a bit, 45 minutes, just give some quick answers and be done with it. But today's been a pretty good stream. You know, pretty good, decent points to talk about as well. I didn't think there's gonna be really much talking points before the double game week 36, but it appears that was a pretty healthy stream. Pretty good discussions as well. Gaurav says, any news on Weltman? Yeah, that's an interesting one, to be honest with you. He got injured last week, right? He got taken off in the first game. Just give me a second. I have these notes where I can tell you, and after that I'm gonna put an end to the stream. So just give me a second here. So according to my notes, my friend, I don't think Veltman is gonna start. I mean, Moises Caicedo started on the right back in the last game, and even Pascal Gross, they said, have has an injury after scoring 2 really good goals. He missed the game. I think he has a hamstring problem. It takes about still takes about 3 weeks to heal. So I think Joel Veltman is going to be out. Good luck, Viz plus all, says CAV. Thank you so much, my friend, and I wish you good luck as well. So guys, I still don't know what time I'm supposed to leave. So in case I have time, I might be back. In case I'm not back, you should follow FPL Raptors stream for the early team news. And if you want to see my team, actually, I've shown you Twitter handles of almost everybody here except my own. So here's a bit of a plug. This is my FPL Twitter, so you can follow me here, guys. And I'm just gonna post my team 1 hour before the deadline. So just in case you are, you want to know what my team is gonna look like, so just give me a follow here on Twitter. Let us see if my followers increased by this plug, which I don't think gonna happen. Smear says, cheers, brother. Thank you for answering my query, says Gaurav. You're welcome, Gaurav. Always welcome, bro. So guys, with this, I think we come to an end of this edition of the Deadline stream, which is not a deadline stream, but let us say a pre-deadline kind of a stream. And it was nice, guys. I honestly enjoyed it a lot. It was really some really good discussions, some really good points to talk about, and lots of fun as always, guys. And obviously I'm going to be back next week, the usual time for the Deadline stream. And again, saying again, if I have time, even today, I might come online for even half an hour close to the deadline to help you, make some decisions, and with the early team news and stuff, if I have time, right? If not, then I'm going to obviously see you next week for next week's edition of the Deadline stream. So guys, have a good one. Have a great Game Week 35. Plan for Game Week 36 and 37. Going to be very exciting end to the season. We need to sprint and go fast past that finishing line, guys. And so FPL is going to sign out, and I'm going to see you next week. May the arrows be green. Bye-bye, everyone.